Today we are talking about representation of gender in popular cinema. What is popular cinema? First, we have to understand that. Popular cinema is the kind of films that emerge out of popular and local and national industries. These are mainstream cinema. However, there is always a divide between art cinema and popular cinema, art cinema, mainstream cinema, so on and so forth. In that divide, what we keep forgetting sometimes is that popular cinema too represents the social, national concerns of a given time. It does. It's not that we forget it, but most of the times we think that popular cinema only caters to certain things, which it does, of course. But at the same time, popular cinema can also contain and hold the ethos and the essence of a given time. So for today's class, as we are trying to understand gender and popular cinema, I have a very particular and a specific concern to discuss. This is one way of discussing one text. You can, according to your concerns and etc., I hope after these classes, you will also be able to read your own films, own text through your feminist concerns. My concern today is the question of land, women's right over land, and a film. I'm trying to read a film called Mother India. Before getting into that, let me first give you an idea about what I am trying to do from the film like Mother India. I am referring to Mother India as a film which belongs to the popular cinema of India. I am trying to understand how through this film I have an idea about a particular time in the history of India, the question of women, their right over land, and so on and so forth. I'm also trying to compare this film with the then national policies that we were witnessing post-independence. And through that, I'm trying to understand the concern and the feminist concern around women's right over land. One thing that we also cannot forget and should not forget, that Mother India, the way it promotes itself, the poster, the text itself, it tries to create an image of Mother Nation, which India itself has been practicing for a long time, even during its struggle for independence. We see Abanindranath Tagore painting Mother India. We have different other Mother Indias being painted in calendar art, in painting, so on and so forth. This cinema only recreates a more popular image of Mother India. This cinema, I would try to read, also attempts to understand India's process of nation building. And most importantly, as I'm trying to say, that Mother India also is a commentary, even if it's a popular film, it's a commentary on right over the land and mythification of women as land, that women should have land, but at the same time, converting women as land itself. The film was released in 1957. Before that, let me read out a section from a piece called Are We Not Peasants Too? Land Rights and Women's Claims in India. It's a 2002 published article by Beena Agarwal. And let us see what she means by right and right over land. She says rights in any form of property are defined here as claims that are legally or socially recognized and enforceable by an external legitimized authority, be it a village-level institution or some higher-level body of the state. Land rights can stem from inheritance, transfer from state, tenancy arrangements, land purchase, and so on. They can be in the form of ownership or any form of right to use, and can encompass differing degrees of freedom to lease out, mortgage, bequeath, or sell. So this is the definition of right that Beena Agarwal is giving us, that one should have the right over the land and one should have the right to do something with the land, to be able to sell, to be able to mortgage, to be able to, use it as an agricultural land, use it for a home, so on and so forth. So women should be included within it. And Beena Agarwal gives us a definition of a sort of what we can think about as right. Now, the major demands of feminists in terms of women's right in India is one, that women should have unconditional land rights exactly at par with its male members of the society. And in the same way, men has right, unconditional right over land. They can own land, they can possess land, they can inherit land. Same should happen with women as well. This will help to empower women. This will bring in the question of equality in the society. Feminist also believes that women's rightful claim over land should not only be in any one sector. Like any other family member, she should also be given equal access to agricultural land, private ownership, inheritance, so on and so forth. Because inheritance is a big problem and is a social problem even today, when women has equal right to inherit their father's or their parental land or property. India, however, has criminalized dowry for a long time, but still, a patriarchal society like ours, there is a belief among many families and many households that because you spend so much time and money, rather, so much money on the marriage of the woman, it's better you give them dowry that is one time in the form of gift or something, which is highly criminal act. You give them that, but when it comes to inheritance of land and property, because they had been given dowry, they are no more given the share. Of course, legally it cannot happen, but we know that many women also, themselves believe that, okay, I should not take the share of my father's property, the brothers should take it. And they willingly sign the agreement that they will not take that land. So this is a very common situation in India. Feminists also argue that access to land reduces women as well as households' poverty risk if you give land to women, because many a times government also distributes land, so it's better that you give it to women because that reduces the risk of poverty of the family, because it has been seen that men tend to spend money on themselves more than women, whereas women tend to invest the money more on the family and everything. And women should also have equal resources independent of a man. At this moment, I'll just bring in the question of the India's Planning Commission. This is very important. We had the 5-year plans, and at this moment, we are mostly referring to the first and the second 5-year plan. The Planning Commission also pointed out that it is important for women to hold land and how it will help. This is Dr. N.C. सक्सेना's theme paper on enhancement of property rights, including land rights for women. This is Planning Commission issue number 1. Women's land right can grow in 3 avenues. This is the Planning Commission talking. 1, they should be given proper inheritance, landed property. So this is no more just theoretical or feminist conceptual ideas. The Planning Commission itself is trying to address this, that inheritance should be given. Also, government allotment, bhudan land, or any government wasteland that are given, this should also be given to women so they can make use of it. Gaining contractual access to land through tenancy, license, and also common property resources, minor forest projects, etc., so that they can produce something through gardening, through their own agricultural practices, so on and so forth. So the Planning Commission aimed to look at gender inequalities in the existing society, and they also tried to bring changes in Hindu private laws to other religious laws that they have for private property and lives, etc., and they tried to bring in a more inclusive plan for the female members of the society. Now let us see what is happening in a film like Mother India. At this moment, I'm looking at a face, as you can also see, of Nargis, who's the star, and her character is known as Radha, as we'll see in the film. The film begins with this image. You find that the face of Radha is almost like the face of a land. A land that is coarse, a land that is rugged. Her cloth, her skin texture, her color of the skin, everything is very earthy. This is actually the title scene. You will find that she's actually sitting on a land, and tractors and everything are moving about. And slowly we see that the sound of tractor and music also gets a high intensity. We move from Radha, we see a very developed village or a place or a community where she lives. So this is mostly the very beginning of the film. India opens, the film Mother India opens with the face of a mother that almost looks like the Mother Earth, the land, and we see this is important because when I was saying that, in the sound, you can actually hear the sound of the tractor. This is important because India, in these two planning commissions, were moving from an agrarian society more towards a heavy industry-based developed society. In one hand, the first planning commission mostly relied on agriculture, and the second planning commission relied more on heavy industry. And tractors were a big image for the second planning commission that, heavy industry and agriculture together will make India better. So after this particular scene ends, we see that few men of the society comes along with her own son, comes and tells her that there is a dam and that needs to be inaugurated and she has to do that. And she hesitates. She doesn't want to do. She looks very timid. She looks very exhausted with age, with life, with experience and etc. She apparently doesn't want to do that. And we hear another member of the society, a male member, saying her that why will you not do it? You are our mother. You are not only our mother, you are our community's mother. You are the Mother India.
ना बोलती है, अरे तू तो हमारी माँ है, सारे गांव की माँ है, नहर तेरे हाथों खुलेगी नहीं तो नहीं खुलेगी. हाँ कह देना माँ.
Then we see that she is inaugurating the dam, and in a flashback, while doing that, in a flashback, we see the life of Radha being played in the next few hours. 2 or 3 hours. Now, the film was released in 1957, right after the completion of the first 5-year plan, and just now, as I said, focusing mostly on agriculture. The second 5-year plan were mostly on heavy industry. Now, this film tells the tale of a woman, Radha, how she becomes the mother of the village and then the mother of the nation by transforming from just a meek housewife to a farmer. But her life becomes a very representative of the life of rural women of India. The next image, when the dam getting inaugurated and she is very hesitant to take the garland and being felicitated, she is hesitant, and from there dissolve, and we see her face as a newlywed woman who is coming to this village as a wife of Ramu. And this is the moment, and this is actually the only sequence where we'll see her so decked up, because on the very night of that marriage, and this is important because India has been struggling with this kind of marriages for a long time, and it's a social problem even today, that women are getting married, and not only in rural, sometimes even in urban context also, that marriage. And because there is no involvement of the men and the women who are getting married, the family gets involved. Many a times there is cheating, the family do not disclose the full thing, do not disclose everything, and family of the woman is so bothered that they have to get the woman married as soon as possible, that sometimes they even marry off the woman to a household which does not have proper means to survive. So when she arrives in this house, she realizes on that very night, on the bridal night itself, she realizes that this house is under complete debt. And from that night itself, her hardship starts. But she's very happy doing that. She wants to take part. She works with her husband on the field and works hard to pay off the debt. But as you understand that in this kind of debt, which is mostly from the local money lenders, and these are the people who are uneducated, this is also important where the question of education also comes in. Most of the time the deals, the fingerprint that they give on the legal documents, they don't even know what's there. And the similar thing happened to Radha's family as well. That they do not realize that even if they're working, they're giving majority of their share of their produce, still they are not being able to come out of the debt. Radha goes through a long hardship. The narrative of the film slowly makes her go through a lot of hurdles. She works with her husband on the field. She cooks at home. She already has 3 or 4 children by now. She has a mother-in-law. And slowly, all that, jewelry, making yourself looking beautiful and everything, these things are gone. She is already a struggling figure. And finally, like a blow that she faces, is that her husband loses his hands in an unfortunate accident. The husband, at the same time, we can see, I mean, I'm not going to narrate the story, but this section is important, that the husband also, at the same time, when he loses his limbs, he also become a victim of patriarchy. People are starting to accuse him that he is now living on the money and the labor of the woman of the family. Now, this is important because this leads the husband to leave the household at a night when Radha was sleeping. And before going, what he does? He removes vermilion marks from her forehead. From this to the middle of the film, which will become actually the poster of the film altogether, we see that Radha not only faces hardship, she faces storm, drought, lack of food, etc. Even the local moneylender, Sukilala, is also making unwelcome advances towards her. And then we see with her two sons, like a bull, she is plowing. And this particular image actually is becoming the poster of the film in the future. That we get the canonical image of Radha becoming, and at this moment, as if these sufferings, the husband going, all these things were ceremonies which now makes her an asexual, quote unquote, no more a female sexual being, a female reproductive sexual being anymore. She has become something else. She has embraced motherhood, and this motherhood becomes symbolic. This motherhood is more like the mother of the nation or a community kind of a thing. She has greater purpose to serve. So this is the moment where Radha's narrative in one way ends. The scene also has a song. दुनिया में हम आए हैं तो जीना ही पड़ेगा जीवन है अगर जहर तो पीना ही पड़ेगा. Now at this moment I would also like to give you another anecdote. There is a superstition or practice, rather traditional practice, that women are never allowed to plow the land because the land is considered as feminine. The sowing the seed is something that a man is supposed to do. So however women work in the fields, they generally don't do that work. But for Radha, this is like a transgression. Because she is no more a wife to somebody, she is no more a sexual being. Her desires, her, the way she can take care of herself and everything has been sacrificed. She has as if become a man. Her femininity is all lost, as if now she becomes somebody who's more responsible, can almost take the responsibility of the whole nation, almost like the image of the Mother India that we find in our calendar arts and everywhere. Now, the film then moves towards the end, the next half of the film. The sons grow up. Radha has two sons. This is also very canonical of how we should understand a nation. That one son is very good, ideal farmer for the nation who will actually feed the nation in the future, who is the future of the nation. And Birju, on the other hand, is a bad boy. He's an outlaw. He doesn't listen to anyone. However, the mother loves him the most. Birju doesn't, or rather cannot be controlled. And Birju also becomes a dacoit by the end of the film. And also abducts the woman of the daughter of Sukhilala because he wanted to marry her. He just abducts her away. And at that moment, Radha knew and Radha believed that what he did was something which is a very bad one, and also it is a question of the honor of the community. And as we all know that Radha kills Birju.
बिरजू, तेरा झगड़ा सुखी से था, सुखी खत्म हो गया। हट जा मेरे बीच से। बिरजू, माँ ने गांव वालों को जबान दी, मैं माँ की जबान पे मर जाऊंगा। रूपा को हाथ नहीं लगाने दूंगा।
Let's try to just remember the dialogue, the last dialogue that Birju and her mother, his mother has. Birju says, "You cannot kill me. You are my mother." And Radha says, "I am a woman." And this is the final, this is almost the final moment where she ultimately, because all her motherhood, which was only for her children, has to be now sacrificed. Because now, so far, she has taken care of the family. But at this moment, now the nation is looking up to her. She says, Radha says, "I am a woman." Birju says, "I am your son." Radha says, "Rupa is a daughter of the village. She is my honor. I can give up my son, but honor."
तू मुझे नहीं मार सकती। तू मेरी माँ है।
मैं एक औरत हूँ।
मैं तेरा बेटा हूँ।
रूपा सारे गांव की बेटी है। वो मेरी लाज है। बिरजू, मैं बेटा दे सकती हूँ, लाज नहीं दे सकती।
तुम मार सकती है तो मार। मैं भी अपनी कसम नहीं तोड़ूंगा।
And as we see, after shooting, she holds Birju, cries hysterically, and there is again another dissolve, and we see the new dam that has been opened, and you can see the color of the water that comes out of the dam looks like blood. So it is as if, that so much of things we have to sacrifice to move forward to the development of a nation. Now, as I was saying in the beginning, let's try to connect the film with the land issue. There are two different types of arguments that are given in favor of women's right over land. One is called the welfare justification. I'm just giving you some pointers, this will help. Through welfare justification, it is said that in poor households, women spend most of their earning on households, and which result in the welfare of the child. So if you give women the right to the land and money and everything, that will only help the child of the family, because women tend to, it has been seen that women tend to spend on the family. The second point, the children have more assets to be educated, get medical help, etc. If the mother has cultivation land or even home garden, the possibility of nutrition of the children also goes up. We also have to understand India is a country where there are many people who lives below the poverty line. Women's direct access to land also reduces the risk of poverty in the family. If woman has the land and she has a say in selling and buying of the land, the family also is more safe in terms of poverty risks. A landed woman may also survive the hardship in case of abandonment, divorce, and widowhood. We can almost see everything that we are saying here happening in the life of Radha, right? But however, we also have to understand that the right for women's land should not only just come because woman is a family, is the mother or somebody. Because welfare argument, what it does, it definitely talks about women's rightful right over land, but at the same time, it also still gives women a very stereotypical role. Like, because women are mothers, so give them land. But what should also be included, that irrespective of the fact whether she is a mother or not, she should have the right of a land. The final point that I wanted to say is that apart from the welfare logic, there is another logic of efficiency that is given in favor of women's right over land. While talking about efficiency, it is said that women are generally more productive and efficient, which is why if they are given the land will be properly utilized more. I mean, if they are given some land or right to land, they will try to hold the land for longer time and will also try to produce more. The land right in the form of title, secure rights for women, it may help increase productivity, improving women's access to credit. Now, if you give a woman a land, that means the land is given legally to her. She has papers. Now she can even use that paper to gain credit for further small business or anything. So this will only give her more opportunities. It will give her a paper that will secure her rights. Also, there is a chance that women might utilize land more capably than men in certain contexts. This is important because it is believed in many of the South Asian countries, it is believed that indigenous women have more knowledge to local herbs, local vegetation, and etc. Sometimes also about local gardening, kitchen gardening, and so on and so forth. So they believe that they are more informed in terms of traditional ways of agriculture, so they can actually build up a better, an alternate form of farming, so on and so forth, that they can come up with. It is also argued that gender equality functions as the basis of social justice. Economic empowerment helps in challenging gender equalities in several other areas. There can be a marked difference seen if a woman given the right over the land, a marked difference can be seen the way she is treated in the home. If she is propertyless, if she is moneyless, if she doesn't have any source of income, any source of right altogether, the family members also tend to look down upon them. The moment she has something, the moment she gains that, we see that the family members also kind of respects them. So this is what I wanted to do. I wanted you to introduce you to women's right to the land, and I also wanted you to introduce to a film. I hope you will see, and you have already watched the film, Mother India. And I'm trying to connect these two and trying to see that how a very popular cinema is also based on these concerns. The first 2 5-year plans, the Nehruvian socialism as we call it, aimed at a development in terms of land distribution, so on and so forth, and also heavy industry. Mother India is based on that and also brings out major questions around women's right over land and their position in the society because of that. That's all for today. Thank you.